What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Test Your Might, the weekly video game debate show. But once again, we are holding the debate this week because it's only me and my good friend, fellow podcaster, best friend, Stubby Stan, Cicero Holmes, Mafia Lord himself. How you doing today?
I am doing great. I had to take my hood off. You know, you say test your might, you got to get your hood ready, spaghetti. But then I had to take my hood off because we are not debating. We are just talking. So while we talk, I will ask you to say hi to your mother for me.
Sure. I will. Okay. I will try my best to remember. They are coming over Friday.
All right.
Parents, so I'll try my best to remember.
Please
Sound
do.
Good?
That sounds like a plan. Slap.
Oh, is that Dunkin' coffee? That sounds delicious. Anyway,
it is.
Listeners,
it's
thanks
cold.
so much. We're just going to be doing like a quick news update so that our next debate show is caught up with all the news. Okay, so that we could be as current as possible. And so Cicero and I are just jumping on to talk about the Sony PlayStation news. Their Project Spartacus was revealed, as well as E3 being officially canceled, both physical and digital editions. Yes, we're all digital now, though, baby. Anyway, a little bit of housekeeping. Me and Joe did a Sonic review from the original Sonic movie back in 2020. The movie from the before times. The last movie before the pandemic.
You know what? So it wasn't the last movie before the pandemic for me. It was the last. It was the last video game movie before the pandemic for me. The last movie before the pandemic for me was Birds of Prey, the Harley Quinn movie.
All right.
I literally saw that like a week before the world shut down. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It was a great film. Had you not seen the Sonic movie? Was this your first time seeing it?
This was my first time seeing it.
Oh man, So I've got to listen to see what your thoughts were.
We both thought it was really fun, really good.
Okay, yeah,
but definitely listen to the full episode. Yeah.
Absolutely, pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, maybe we could have you on our review in a couple weeks. But I know you're probably not going to go to the second Sonic movie in theaters.
I am not going to go to the theater to go see it.
Okay, so you won't be on the next episode,
right?
Well,
yeah.
Anyway.
So I mean, you could wait until it's available at home.
I could, but maybe not.
Yeah, if you
probably not.
If you guys are watching the video, I'm not even sure if the video is going to come up. But if you're watching the video, you can see behind me, my partner is in my my living
she'll
room
be there.
theater area. Yeah, and so back there are surround sound speakers, Atmos, and a 65-inch OLED television. So that is my theater going experience.
And a 7-foot tall woman.
Yeah, right. Yes. I mean, she may be part of my theater going experience. I'm not exactly sure.
I mean, she's your partner.
But there's a fridge to my right. There is a popcorn machine upstairs.
Man,
there is a you don't need anything else to enjoy the movies. And I can enjoy it on my time when I want to, with pauses, with no price of admission. So
I mean, besides your subscription services.
Yeah. Well, I was paying for those anyway.
Okay. Well, all right. Regardless, may I finish housekeeping, friend?
Yeah, whatever. I don't care about that.
All right. Sounds good. We also had a premiere review of the Halo TV series, so go ahead and check that out.
Right.
It was a lot of fun. Me and Justin talked about the premiere. Cicero wasn't around.
Nope.
Also, I didn't run this by you guys, but I thought that we would do weekly check-ins on the Test Your Might episodes.
Okay.
For those
Halo?
episodes. And
sure.
So I guess really quickly, what did you think of the second episode? Did you watch it?
Yes, I enjoyed it. I love the fact that we don't know what's going to happen, right? Like they have completely leaned into this fact. And I made this analogy on I think on our episode of the Infinity Bros when we were doing a review there. I also made this analogy on my Halo focused podcast, Forward Unto Quan, Cheap plug, but I will make it here as well. And that is that it felt like Microsoft went to the producers of the show, the creators, the writers of the show, and introduced them to the Halo playset, right? And they took each character and explained who that character was and kind of gave them a backstory of that specific character, and then was like, all right, now that you know what all the toys are, tell a story with these toys.
Yeah.
And that is kind of like they, like I think Microsoft and Amblin and Showtime went and they sat together and was like, all right, this is where we think it should start. And then the rest of it was just kind of up to these guys. And I think that's where what we've gotten so far, and that's where we're going. And it may rub some true diehard Halo video game fans the wrong way.
Oh, we'll 100% do that.
Yeah, but I personally like the fact that we're getting a different story, a story we don't know, that exists in the same world of characters that we do.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I like about all of the big franchises, right? Like we've talked about it here on Test Your Might a bunch of times. When we talk about Star Wars, like the thing that I love about Star Wars now is not about the special, not about the one, right? It's about the whole world. Like, let's explore the stuff that we saw on the margins and really kind of see what it's like to be a citizen in this universe.
Yeah.
And fill up, do some world building, do some galaxy building, and we're getting a little bit of that in Halo, and I'm here for the ride.
Yeah, and what I'll land on is there's obviously going to be fanboys, certainly, but I can't be upset about what seems so far to be a good dramatic sci-fi show with beloved characters. Like, yes. I just can't get upset about it. And so this second episode was a lot of lore building and everything, like getting everything prepared and all that. And I'm excited for the ride. And so, yeah, listeners, we will do weekly check-ins each week for Test Your Might on the Halo TV series, because majority of the time, probably all the panel that will be on there will pretty much be caught up with it. So we are invested in watching it. So as always, please leave us a review. Thank you guys so much who have. Please follow us on Spotify and on mobile only. Leave us a star review there, as well as Apple Podcasts. Go ahead and leave us a review there. We would love to read it on the show. So please leave us a review. Let us know how we're doing, maybe what we can improve on, or just let us know how awesome we are, because I think we're pretty cool. Yeah. But regardless, thank you so much. And please, if you're watching us on YouTube, hit that like, comment, and subscribe. Please subscribe. We're on the road to 100 subscribers to get that custom link. So, Cicero.
Yes.
We're just going to be doing a couple news updates here on this episode here. And we're going to start with the big one that came out, which was Project Spartacus was finally revealed, which is supposedly the Game Pass competitor from PlayStation.
Right.
And to be frank, I think they're just doing different things, because I don't know if it's going to compete with Game Pass off the start. But who's to say what Spartacus, or what what they're calling it now is the PlayStation Plus Platinum or Essential. We'll get to that. We'll get to that, and I maybe in the future it will start like doing more things that kind of Game Pass does and everything. But at the start, we already know a little bit of news here, and so Cicero, do you want to take us down what we know based on what we heard?
So yeah, let me see what we've got. We've got 3 tiers, right? Mm-hmm. So there's the current tier, or there's PlayStation Plus Essentials, which is the tier that we currently know as PlayStation Plus. So that is you get a game every month. You get that you can download or add to your library. Or 2 games every month, cloud storage for your save games, access to online multiplayer games. That remains, the price for that remains the same. $9.99 a month, or $10 a month, $25 a quarter, or $60 a year. Then we move into, that's PlayStation Plus Essential. So what was once PlayStation Plus is now PlayStation Plus Essential. Then we go from PlayStation Plus Essential to PlayStation Plus Extra. So you get everything in the Essential tier, plus a catalog of up to 400 of the most enjoyable PlayStation 4 and PS5 games, including blockbuster hits from our PlayStation Studios catalog and third-party partners. Games in the Extra tier are downloadable for play. That price is $15 a month, $40 a quarter, or $100 per year. Then finally, if you want to ball out, you want to do it up, you can go into their final tier called PlayStation Plus Premium, which will give you all the benefits from the Essential and Extra tiers, and adds up to 340 additional games, including PS3 games available via cloud streaming, a catalog of beloved classic games available in both streaming and download options from the original PlayStation, PS2, and PSP generations. Offers cloud streaming access for original PlayStation, PS2, PSP, and PS4 games offered in the Extra and Premium tiers in markets where PlayStation Now is not currently available. Customers can stream games using PS4 and PS5 consoles and PC.
Is this your Jim Ryan impersonation?
Yeah, time-limited game trials will also be offered in this tier, so customers can try to select games before they buy. And that price is $18 per month, $50 per quarter, or $120 per year. There is an additional tier that we don't talk about. So in markets where the PlayStation Premium service, the cloud streaming service, is not available, there is a tier called PlayStation Plus Deluxe that will be offered at a lower price compared to Premium, and includes a catalog of beloved classic games from the original PlayStation, PS2, and PSP generations that download and play along with time-limited game trials. Benefits from the Essential and Extra tiers are also included. Local pricing will vary by market. So those are the 3 asterisk plus tiers of PlayStation Plus.
So what's your initial reaction to this tier model, and do you believe that it's good, bad? What do you got?
Well, I mean, the first thing you said was that this was their attempt to kind of be like Game Pass, and you know, this is their Game Pass competitor, right? Like full stop, right? Like it's not kinda, it is, right? This is their Game Pass competitor. As a Game Pass competitor, it seems to be left a little wanting. There, from a personal standpoint, I'm not the biggest fan because it's way too confusing, right? Like it took 5 minutes to explain everything that's going on. And when I first heard about these tiers that they added, my first thought was, imagine being a retailer and you've got to explain to somebody's parent what the new PlayStation Plus tiers are, right? Like what PlayStation Plus is now. And you know, like how do you get it all straight? I think there are excuse me, of the 3 official tiers, I think there's 1 tier too many. What I would do personally, and what I think we'll get, since considering that it's not supposed to be rolled out, these new tiers aren't supposed to roll out until sometime around June of this year. I think there is still enough time if the I don't want to call it backlash, but if the conversation around it is focused this way, is to remove this PlayStation Plus Extra tier, right? Remove that tier. Just have PlayStation Plus Essential and PlayStation Plus Premium, the PPPs, right? You can get your PPP tier, and you get everything from the PlayStation Plus Extra tier in the PPP tier. But then, because you've gotten rid of that PlayStation Plus Extra tier, make the monthly price of Premium $15 per month. Yeah. and
Yeah.
and then $50 a quarter and $120 a year, right?
Yeah.
So you're taking the same monthly price from the PlayStation Plus Extra tier, but you're adding it to the annual price and the quarterly price of the PlayStation Premium tier. And that, like, if you do that, then you've got something that is matching price parity with Game Pass, and doing one better, because if there's one thing that Game Pass doesn't have that I've been clamoring for, is an annual subscription price, right? Give me an annual subscription price that knocks off a month or two or something like that, gives me a percentage off of what it would cost to pay for it monthly, and I will do it, right? I will give you that money right away. So if you made Game Pass $120 a year, you get that from me in a heart, like without even a hesitation.
Full stop.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And play, the PPP tier is,
we're calling it that from now on.
Right. The PPP tier is exactly what I'm asking Game Pass for. But there's so much unknown about what is in that tier besides, like, so you get 340 additional games, so games from the PlayStation library, but also they're saying third-party games, but I don't know what that really means. And if we're comparing apples to apples between Game Pass and PlayStation Plus, in this new iteration, is Game Pass is coming in and saying, hey, all of our first-party titles, which when they first made that announcement in Game Pass, it was one thing, but now it means so much more with all of the acquisitions from Microsoft. But all of our first-party games, day and date, will be launched into the service. So as long as you have Game Pass, you have access to these games, right? So you don't have to worry about actually having to spend additional money to play games that come directly from us. Yeah. And that is not something that Sony has said. It is not something that I really believe that they're interested in doing.
They're not going to,
right?
At least
and
that's what Jim Ryan has said.
Yeah, and that's a problem, right? That you're spending $120 a month for what, right? Like, you're spending $120 a month to play old games.
So let me jump in with games. Let me jump in. I have a lot of questions from what you said, let me jump in with my opinion.
Sure.
As a Game Pass competitor, I don't think it holds up to Game Pass. However, I do think that there's great value in here, especially if you're going for the yearly price of $120 for the PPP tier. And yes, we will be calling it that from now on. So the $120 is cheaper than a full year of Game Pass. So, like, it offers really, really good value. I think the one big difference, or the couple differences, is obviously the first party titles, but also, like, downloading. The ability to download content, like, no offense to the PS3, but, like, everything on the 360 that is backwards compatible to the Xbox is downloadable. And all of PS3, for some reason, is all cloud. Now, those are older games, so the cloud could probably handle them in spades. I mean, depending on your internet connection. Right. But still, there's a lot of people who don't have said internet connection and might want to experience an older game that the PPP tier would be the easiest way to access. And so that's where I come in on that.
Okay. I've got an answer for you, but you keep going. Just remind me. I'll come back with an answer for why that's not possible.
Yeah, I mean, I know the architecture of the PS3. Is that what you're gonna hint at? Is like very hard to emulate.
The reason you can't do that for PS2 and PS3 games is because of the cell architecture. In order for the emulation to happen, it has to happen on the on the hardware side. So it's not software emulation. So if they're what's happening is you're going to the cloud to operate on machines that have been built specifically to play those games.
Yeah.
And you literally don't have the ability to do that if you download the games to your console.
Yeah. And so yeah, that I think that's not necessarily a huge problem, but at the end of the day, like, there's going to be people who would rather download the game instead of stream.
Oh yeah,
for sure,
of course,
100%.
of course.
Streaming, you know, we've had this conversation before. Streaming is just not. It's not 100% there. It is definitely on its way, but it's just not 100% there just yet.
Sure.
Now with all that being said, the back catalog is insane. The possibilities of the back catalog here is, you know, that's what's going to, in a sense, overshadow Game Pass in as far as back catalog. But I'm hearing a lot of sentiment, at least from, you know, reading on Twitter and stuff like that. Like, not a lot of people are planning on going to older games. Like, they just don't. They really don't plan on it. And that's what is so enticing about Game Pass, is not only do they make these day one deals with third-party publishers to get their game onto Game Pass day one, but they also have their first-party stuff day one as well. And so if third-party publishers are really going to make a push to, you know, the PPP tier, then there's going to be a bidding war for these third-party games to show up day and date on whichever service. And so, yeah, sure. I think Microsoft has more money to kind of go into that arms race, but, you know, we'll see if that even becomes the case.
Well, I think there's a lot to unpack with that stuff, right? So the first part is people enjoy consuming nostalgic feelings more than they enjoy consuming nostalgic content, right? Yeah. So yeah, people love talking about old games and love talking about, oh man, if I could get that old game, I'd play it. And some people do, but the percentage of people that do versus the percentage of people that say that they will is like single digits.
Well, yeah, there's no other content consumption that vies for so much of your time. And so, like, for you, then gaming, for you to, like, going back and watching a 90s, 80s, 70s movie is an hour and a half on average of your time. Right. Whereas going back to, let's say, Final Fantasy VII, that is 10 to 20 hours of your time, if depending,
at least,
if that, you know. And so, yeah, that's a huge, like, that back catalog is going to bolster some of these tiers, but at the end of the day, like, how often are you going to go back? Like, for me in particular, if we are talking Game Pass, there are a lot of 360 titles, even some original Xbox titles that have made it in there, and I've only played Psychonauts. Right. Like, so, I mean, it's one of those things that, like, I'm always looking for the new content. I'm always looking for the games that I did not purchase when it came out, and then 3 months later it hits Game Pass. And so we'll see, because I just don't know. I also think the $18 a month is a little high. As you said, I think if they knock out one of those tiers and then kind of bring it to a state of parity with Game Pass pricing wise is perfect. And yeah, this is my question to you, because of PlayStation announcing their annual pricing. Do you think that Xbox was maybe waiting for that, and maybe it's in the works, in the plans, and they were just kind of wanting to go off of what PlayStation, was going to reveal? So.
I don't know, man. I think that there might have been a little bit of that, but I also know that, I mean, the rumor mill has been pretty heavy with the notion that Microsoft is going to change the pricing on Game Pass. recently. Like there's been lots of conversation about it, and it's turning from a smolder to smoke to and if there was smoke, then there's fire. So we've also heard that there's a family tier being announced. So I think that what we'll wind up getting is this family monthly tier, an increase in price, and hopefully along with this increase in price, an annual subscription price that makes it a price preferable to spend more money at the annual price than absorb the monthly price increase, right? And those of us that like me, who have All Access, right, who purchased one of their consoles via All Access, which gave you 2 years of Game Pass included with your All Access purchase, are grandfathered in to whatever the price is. And if you've already prepaid for a certain amount of time with Game Pass, then your price will also be grandfathered in. But then other people are going to, and you, when your subscription ends, will have to pay that new price. Or you can probably buy this annual subscription, at the annual subscription price. So I think those things are happening. I do believe that if and when the pricing changes, I would not be surprised if the price went up to that $17.99 price point that marks the PPP tier for PlayStation.
I know Phil Spencer
with an annual price of $149.99, so $150 for an annual price.
I know Phil Spencer was recently quoted that $15 a month is still really sustainable for them. So I think that a price change I think it's a little ways away.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, I think I was literally thinking that $149.99 price in my head, because even though that is $30 above and beyond what PPP is in the PlayStation tiers, like that's still 2 months off. That's 2 months off, for free in Game Pass. And you're paying for those day one titles. You're paying for your access to these third-party titles. Right. Like, I think the $150 annual price is actually really good. It might have some backlash because it's more expensive than the final tier of PlayStation Plus, but at the end of the day, it is offering more. So let's pivot into that just for a little bit. Like, first party day and date, Jim Ryan has said that he, that's just not what they're looking to do, and they don't plan on doing it. Right. Do they need to switch that mentality? What are your thoughts?
No. I think that if this is the choice that they're making, that's the choice that they're making, and to continue to go that way, the one hope that the thing that they need to bank on is one that that Sony customers remain loyal Sony customers and are like, okay, well, I'll spend this $150 a month, $120 a year on stuff that I'm not going to use.
Yeah.
Right. Besides online multiplayer and the 3 or 4 games that are released in the year that are games that from PlayStation Plus that I was like, I really wanted to play that game and I didn't get a chance to, and it's in PlayStation Plus. But the rest of the stuff is nostalgia driven, and nostalgia driven, and maybe a couple of more recent games that are available. So if the Sony fans are buying it, then it doesn't matter, right? Like they don't have to continue to add more value to it. The other thing that they have going for them is, you've already said that you don't think that Microsoft is going to change their pricing anytime soon. But if they do change their pricing anytime soon, and they do come out with an annual subscription price of $150 a year, which I agree with you is a great price, is a sustainable price, and definitely a fair price for the type of content that you're getting, they can come in and just say, look, hey, we've got a service too, and it's cheaper.
Yeah.
Right. And that will drive people to it, just off the fact that it's cheaper. And I think that's something that they have going for them. But I don't think that the content that they have going for them, I don't think that people will find the value after they're inside the subscription, even though they see the value outside of the subscription.
On paper.
Where,
yeah.
Right. Which is I think the opposite thing that happens with Game Pass is that people bought into Game Pass and then found like, oh man, like how are they doing? Like it's kind of magical when you look at Game Pass and the amount of games and the gems that you found that were indie games or some games that there's no way you would have spent 10, 12, 13, 20 bucks on this game if you just saw it in the store. But because it's part of Game Pass, you go ahead and give it a shot. Let me see what it is. And it turns into like, oh man, this wasn't my favorite game of the year, but it was one of my favorite games of the year.
Yeah.
And that's worth it.
Well, I mean, just even thinking about that, like Tunic is probably my game of the year at this point.
Sure.
And the fact that I just had the ability to download it and play it and absolutely love it so far is just so enticing. It's 100% worth it.
Right.
And I mean, even if you game share, like it's 100% worth it. $15 a month for two of your friends to have it,
I don't talk about game share.
Why?
I officially don't because that is not an official an official policy from Microsoft.
They're not stopping it though. So
hey, look, all I will say is that everyone in my household has access to Game Pass via my login, and
well, there you go.
That's it.
There you have it.
If they open family sharing, I'll be really excited about family sharing Game Pass with my family and getting that service. So yes, game sharing, even without game sharing, it's an incredible deal. For one person, and the games are actionable in a way that Sony so far has not advertised their service to have at the same level or even at a close level, right? So we've gotten 4 or 5 games that are recent titles that have been announced as the examples for games, but then all of the other conversations surrounding games for the PlayStation Plus experiences have all been around games from legacy consoles, PS3, PS4, and being able to experience that content in ways that aren't necessarily palatable for most people, even in America, right? Even in first world countries. So so I don't know if that's necessarily the right thing to do, but it's not the wrong thing to do.
Yeah, it's not the wrong. And obviously in those places that don't have viable internet, and they are obviously doing a price reduction.
Well, or no, we don't know that, right? We don't know what the pricing is going to be in those countries where access to cloud gaming isn't really available, right? And we're talking countries, right? We're talking countries. So if
it says lower price compared to premium,
right?
So,
but if you but they're talking countries, right? So if you live in Butte, Montana. Right? Or suburban Butte, Montana.
That's what I meant.
You're not getting PlayStation Plus Deluxe. You're getting PlayStation Plus Premium. You just won't have access to it.
Right.
Because your internet isn't good enough, right? Like, I mean, let's talk about it, Mike. You're on your way to getting fiber service in your area, but if this was released 2 years ago, you'd be subject to whatever type of cable service or internet service you're currently using. And sometimes it's great, but sometimes it's not. And, and then if the weather is bad, it just completely goes away.
No, well, I mean, That's not true. It's DSL, so it's technically like it's still hardwired.
Mike
But
lives
yes,
in the
it is.
sticks, everybody.
It is still DSL. I'm getting fiber soon.
Yeah, congratulations.
I'm excited.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Welcome to the 21st century.
Oh, yeah, you're welcome. Anyway, Cicero,
yeah,
so let's...
but yeah, I mean, all that aside, but, the point is that your point of this relying on people having consistent high-speed internet access that's reliable enough for them not only to stream the content but also be able to interact with it is something that not even 100% of the people in this country will be able to experience.
Which is where that middle tier is the most enticing. I think, even though that the final tier, like certainly the PPP tier, trademarked. Even though that tier offers the most and offers the back catalog, at the very least, you got that middle tier where it is offering the most recent games in the PS4 and PS5, and they're all downloadable. And price point is at $15. So, we'll see. We'll see how it shakes out. I think it's got a tall task to compete with Game Pass, but I'm not entirely sure that is their focus regardless. So, I think Sony wants people to still be purchasing their games at $70 a pop, and that's what they're okay with in their business model. So, listeners, I'm going to have a link down below because I want to help you out. We're huge Game Pass fans here, and I know that this PlayStation Plus stuff is going to hit a lot of you guys, which is where you want to be playing your games. So down below, there's going to be a link, and I'll try to put a card in the YouTube video if you're watching as well. Right now, you have the ability, until Sony stops it, which I don't think they will, but you have the ability to stack your PlayStation Now subscriptions to turn into the PlayStation Premium subscription in June. So it transfers over. I'll put a link down there. Thanks to IGN, they do have a guide on how to do that for yourself. So if you want to stack and get a couple years of the PlayStation Premium tier at the same price right now, that is the PlayStation Now, so just $60.
$60 for the year.
Yeah.
Right. So that was another thing that they said, that if you get PlayStation Plus, if you've got PlayStation Now and you have PlayStation Plus, for that $120, you've got the premium, right? So it's the same price annually as what you're currently paying. So if you can stack now, on top of that, you can
if you can afford it and stack on it right now, I'll have that link down below so that you guys can take advantage of that. So with that being said, Cicero, just really quick, last bit of news. E3 is officially canceled digitally as well. In January, it was canceled in person. And they have finally announced last week that it was canceled digitally. So I'm not going to take too much time on it because we've already talked about this at length on Test Your Might. And, we said E3 is going to be no longer what it used to be, really. And so, Cicero, you've been to E3. So I'm asking you, what is your favorite E3 memory first? And then I want you to go into just like the state of E3. Do you think it will ever come back? Do you think we're all done with it? Like, what are your thoughts on the news from last week? So start with your favorite memory, though.
So my favorite E3 memory that I can talk about is
maybe some late nights.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So my favorite E3 memory is probably my first E3 walking into the convention hall. Because it really was like a Nirvana moment, right? Like you really felt like you made it. So you walk, you see the entrance to the hall you've seen on TV or on the computer screen so often. Then you walk inside. I'm going up the escalator. As I'm going up the escalator, going down the escalator is McBiggity from Twitter, from IGN. Crap! I can't think of his name now.
Oh,
I'm really
my
sorry.
goodness.
but
I'm blanking on his name too.
Yeah, Marty Silva.
Yeah,
Sleva. Marty Sleva. Yeah. So I see Marty. I'm like, oh, hey, Marty, how you doing? He's going up the escalator he's going down the escalator as I'm going up the escalator. As I get to the platform above the escalator, I'm like, oh man, it's E3, and I look around. And to my right is Cliff Bleszinski. So I stop and I talk to Cliffy B. And I'm like, hey, Cliff, how you doing? Da-da-da. We take a picture. And then, I'm like, oh, man, this is awesome. That's cool. And I keep moving. Then I, walk to, there's, another set of escalators. And I haven't even, made it into the show floor proper yet. And I've run into, oh man, he used to be at Sony, but he's not with Sony anymore. But he was another bigwig at Sony, and we sit and we talk for 30 seconds, and I'm like, oh, it's great to meet you, blah blah blah. We have a really good conversation. We take a picture, and then I'm moving along and I'm making my way to the show floor. And as I'm making my way to the show floor, I run into Matt Schaefer. And then I'm like, oh, hey, Matt, da-da-da-da. I'm talking to Matt Schaefer for a second. And we take a picture. And then I walk into the show floor. So, all of that transpired in 5 minutes. But, and that was my first experience with, E3. I had done, I'd gone to a couple of press events and press conferences before that during that week, because obviously that stuff happens the weekend before. And then, and then the show doesn't open until either Monday or Tuesday or something like that, or Wednesday, whatever it is. But, that happened, and then I got to the show floor, and it's just that part was oh, dude, you're at E3, right? So that's a moment that I'll never forget, even if I forget the names of the people that I met. But the feeling of realizing oh yeah, hey, not only can I put these faces with names that I'd already known and stuff like that, but I also get to press the flesh with them. Was incredible.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, what about the other new new E3?
So new E3. We talked about it in our prediction episode. I said it then. I'll say it again. E3 is dead.
Mm-hmm.
It is never coming back. And when I said it then, my biggest the thing that made me most upset about that was that you guys won't get a chance to experience that, at least not in the same way, not in the E3 way. But also the other great thing about E3 was, not only just getting access to all of the content, right, and all the games, but getting access to the people for whom you admired in the game space, but also game journalists that you've sat and you've read and you've paid attention to and been fans of, being able to sit and speak with them as peers, right? That part was amazing. And I mean, hell, I'm friends with Ryan McCaffrey. And actually, I'm friends with a lot of people that are over at IGN, but that happened as a result of going to E3, and meeting them in person and being able to sit down and have conversations with them, and then after the show was over, sitting and having drinks and and telling jokes and laughing together and that kind of stuff. And the one thing that's really great about E3 is an incredible chance to network. But it's also like summer camp, man. It's getting all of your friends together, and you guys do all this stuff all year long, but getting together and not only talking about the thing that you guys have in common, that you love, gaming, but also being able to celebrate each other as people and the work that you've done collectively. It is a great fraternity to be amongst. The gaming space.
Yeah, so I mean, just my quick thoughts. I agree with you. I think E3, as we knew it, is certainly not going to be coming back. couple positives. I think what's really cool is that at the very least Jeff Keighley started something, the Summer of Gaming stuff that he was doing that kind of can pretty easily take E3's place and become something that maybe it is all digital, but maybe it does eventually become like a physical event, a physical conference or whatever. So yeah, that is good news to look forward to. IGN's doing a bunch of summer gaming things, so I don't think we're going to be missing the summer news festival specifically, but like E3, the E3 that it was never coming back. I'm always excited around that time. Like, I'm excited for all the conferences. I love watching, and I love getting all the news to get really excited for and stuff, and just seeing these hype moments. And so it will certainly be missed, but it probably won't be as missed for somebody who never attended. So I think a lot of people, and I empathize with those feelings, that just a lot of people who love the physical aspect of E3 and getting together with friends is something that they're going to truly miss. And I feel for them. That's for sure. So, so E3 is gone for this year. Cicero, I didn't tell you about this, but
okay.
Brand new, announced today, Devolver Digital announced that there is going to be a new Monkey Island game, Return to Monkey Island. And just wanted your quick thoughts on it to round out the show.
Hey, listen, man, I'm all for it, right? Like, Monkey Island, The Secret of Monkey Island is one of those games that you should revisit, right? Like, and for most gamers that are around your age, it's not even revisiting it, it's visiting it.
It would be visiting for me.
And a lot of those LucasArts games that are kind of like point and click adventures they're remarkable at how timeless they are. The art style is the way it is. You don't have to worry about like innovations in Twitch mechanics and that kind of stuff. It's just what it is. It's all about the writing. It's all about solving the puzzles. It's all about just kind of playing those games and enjoying what you're getting from those games. Think of like if you're playing Tiny Tina and the humor that you're getting out of those. Think about it that way. It's all about the writing and the zaniness of the puzzles. That's what those games are about. Grim Fandango, Secret of Monkey Island, lots of those games. Check those games out. They're really great. 7-8 hours. They're not terribly long. So the fact that a new one's coming out and Devolver don't miss.
No, they really don't.
So if they're if they've got their hands in this pot, then I believe that the game is going to be good.
Yeah. All right. Well, cool. You heard it here first. All right, listeners, thanks for just sticking with us for this mini episode on just some of the news that has been happening. Let us know what you think about the new PlayStation Plus subscription model, as well as E3. What are some of your favorite E3 memories? Let us know down in the comments. We'd love to read them, maybe on next week's show. Now, just a quick tease. We got some big things coming up in May.
We do?
Early May.
Oh, okay.
And I want you all to be excited for it. That's all I'm giving you for now. Anyway, this has been a mini episode of Test Your Might. You can find Cicero at StubbyStan on Twitter. You can find me at StayAtHomeGamer on Twitter, where the O in home is a 0. Without further ado, my name is Mike, that's Cicero, and we will see you later. Bye.
Without further doo-doo?
Is that what I said?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.